Good evening, everyone, and welcome to What's Up with Richard. Hey, I was rummaging through our shed the other day, and look what I found. Isn't this thing cool? You know, before this video's over, I'm going to test, see if this thing still works. I know I used to. I used to entertain the grandkids with it. Hey, and today just happens to be Mother's Day. So what I want to do is wish each and every one of you moms a happy Mother's Day, especially to my wife, Pat, who I made breakfast for and some mimosas. And to my mom. You know, Mom, and I know you'll watch this sooner or later, if you include the year that you were pregnant with me, this is your 67th Mother's Day. That's just amazing. And you know, moms have to be really tolerant to kids. I know my mom was pretty tolerant of me. I went through school, elementary school, middle school, high school, mostly getting C's and D's. Every once in a while I get a B. But I remember when I was in high school, she said, if you ever get an A, I'll jump off the roof. Well, guess what? My senior year, I did get an A. It might have been a religion class, but I got the A. Mom, I'm still waiting for the giant leap. Now, the last time we were together, I asked for some suggested topics or some things that I could talk about, and I got a couple good comments. And one of the comments from Kim was, hey, why don't you tell a bicycle story? And I do have some bicycle stories. One I'm going to save for a special vlog, but I can tell this one. This happens to be, well, a two-mistake ride. You know, it was one of those really nice days, and I was doing like a 25 mile ride. But I thought I would stop and rest in Lakeside. They have a nice little pavilion there, and I thought I could get a snack and have a little drink before I finish the ride. So I pull up onto this grassy area, and I go to unclip, and, well, you don't understand what unclip is, then you won't understand the story. So let me give you a little bicycling pedal 101. Now, most of you are familiar with bicycle pedals like this. They're just flat pedals. Of course, you know the deal, right? But they're not very efficient. So what's happened over the years is they developed this thing called a toe clip. And what happens is the shoe fits in there like this, and then of course you pedal, and the nice thing about it is when you come up, you're actually pulling up and not just pushing down. But still, if you notice, there's a little bit of flexibility there, so it's not the most efficient. So they went to something a little different, and that is called clipless. And this is an example of a clipless pedal. This happens to be an SPD pedal, but and there are different kinds of pedals for road bikes. This is more of a mountain bike or touring pedal. Now, what you end up doing is actually clipping in. So you put your foot on the pedal and you clip in. And that's a very efficient way to pedal because not only can you push down, but you can pull up. And then what you do when you stop, you just pull your heel out and you unclip. Most of the time, but not always. Okay, let's get back to the story. But for this part of the story, I better put this back on because I'm going to need it. Now, like I said, I ended up on the grassy area, and as soon as I got there, I went to unclick. Well, guess what? Nothing happened. And I'm leaning. Thank you, Captain America, be my demo here. And I'm leaning, and over I go. I wonder if this thing actually works. I really got to try this thing. Now, the first thing I did was assess. Am I hurt? I looked around. No. Didn't hit my head? No. No blood? All right, things are good. But I look pretty stupid right about now. I was able to unclip right here, but I couldn't unclip the other one. I don't understand what was happening at this point. I'm stuck. The bike is between my legs. I'm laying on the ground. I'm looking around, hoping no one is seeing this fiasco. Since I couldn't unclip, I figured the only thing I could do was get my foot out of the shoe, which is no simple process. In fact, this is the shoe I was wearing. And if you look at it, it has a Velcro strip. So I had to undo the Velcro strip. Now remember, I'm lying on my side. The bicycle's on me. I'm trying to contort my body to get down there to unlatch this thing, pull it open, and what's next? Uh-oh. My shoelace is in the little pocket here because that protects the shoelace from getting in between the chain and the sprocket. So I had to pull this out and untie it. That whole process took me at least 5 minutes. Out from underneath the bike, and I try to figure out what's wrong, and there it is right there. There are 2 screws holding that cleat on. Well, on the day I fell, there was only one. So the first mistake I made that day was not checking to make sure everything was tightened down on the cleats of my shoes. Now, it took me another 5 minutes to figure out how to get that cleat out of the pedal. Eventually, I had to get a stick and pry it out, but I got it. And the next project I had was, how do I get home? Well, I can either call my wife, Patty, can you come rescue me again? Nah, I didn't want to do that. She's come to get me more than once. So I thought the next thing I should do was pedal home. All right? Mistake number 2. Now here's my thought process. Here's the pedal. I can't use the cleat, but I figured just the toe would be just fine. And I could just pedal, clipped in on the left side, and on the right side, I could just I didn't have far to go, 5 miles. It was pretty flat, and the 2 little hills I had, I could push the bike up, no problem. All right, and everything worked out just perfectly well for the first 3.5 miles. And then, the inevitable. I was going down Lakeshore Road, and a car was passing me, and I was checking in my rearview mirror. I saw him, but I got too close to the edge of the road. I gotta check this guy out. I gotta make sure he runs. But anyway, what happened is I got too close to the edge of the road, and there happened to be a drop off of about 6 inches. So I did one of these. Hit, up. Oh yeah, I went up probably 2 feet. I came down really hard on the back of the saddle, bent the saddle back about a 45-degree angle, and I went shoom. Now, I hadn't fallen off of a bicycle for quite a few years, and now I've done it twice in the last hour. And as I check myself over, this time, I find I'm bleeding because the inside of my calf had an unfortunate meeting with my front sprocket. And for the second time that day, I find myself picking myself up with a saddle at a 45-degree angle, a cleat that's just sort of hanging by one screw, and blood dripping down and pooling in my shoe. And I had to humbly walk home right through the middle of town. You know what? Just another bicycle ride in the life of a cyclist. Now, let's go out and see if this thing actually works. I'm looking forward to it.